You know, and you agree with me that successive government in Nigeria has been doing it over time. Let's even look at Fourth Republic during the Olusegun Obasanjo administration. We have what we call National Poverty Education Program called NAPEP.
Yeah.
You see, that was, and that's why the name actually came about that time. During the Yaradua, we have wealth creation, and during the during the Jonathan era, we do have what we call subsidy reinvestment program that was focused on youths with innovation in Nigeria. And this government as well as also came up with what we call a National Social Investment Program. Now, this social investment program is about 4. We have CCT, conditional cash transfer. We have government enterprise, JIP. You know, we have N-Power, and we have homegrown feeding. Now, these are good programs, but the fact is, how far has it transformed? How far has it moved Nigeria from that poverty level to a well-being level? That's the question. And like the last analysis by Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, we do have poverty in a different dimension. So in Sokoto, we could have issue of feeding. In other places, it could be health-related problem. In other ways, it could be even shock. You know, that is affecting insecurity. So poverty is multi-dimensional. So Nigeria need to look at it and tackle poverty state by state, community by community. Like a good example, when I was in Rwanda, I recall in Rwanda they have strata. They understand the very poor, you know, the middle class, the rich. You know, Nigeria, we don't have such statistics that could help us to achieve that. And in answering and reducing poverty there, they make sure that every people that is in poverty line, total poverty, deep poverty, are given free education. In fact, they give them, some of them, free cow. So with the aim that over time, you know, and it's also redistributive in nature, if you agree with me, because if you distribute wealth, it will kill inequality and Nigerians will be better for it. So it's a good one, I agree, but how far has it moved Nigerians from poverty level to level? Looking at the last statistics as well, that says that about 1.3 million Nigeria are in poverty. That's about 63%. It's so appalling. So we need to do something very urgent.
Okay, the World Bank noted that 3.7 trillion naira is needed to fight poverty. Then why then spend so much on petrol subsidy?
The fact is that we don't run total private government. Government also want to create a succor for people. However, at what point are we going to remove it? It's stated that by June it will be removed. Well, it's fine if it is removed and bring about a betterment of citizens. Because who are you subsidizing fuel for? It's just purely for the rich. How many poor person has a car on the streets? So it's purely for the rich. So we must do something about that. And it's even affecting our recurrent, capital expenditure. If you look at our expenditure in this current budget that is about to be signed, you will notice that much more of it is going to subsidy debt payment, you understand, and also going for recurrent. It's only about 5.7 or so that is going for people that involve social infrastructure. I want to talk about social infrastructure. We're looking at road, we're looking at healthcare, we're looking at education. So that patronage sum is what the whole Nigeria is relying on. So we must remove subsidy to have a better Nigeria for citizens.
Okay, I don't know whether you are aware of the National Social Investment Program Bill. Is said to have passed a second reading, and it seeks to establish the National Social Investment Program Agency for management and implementation of the National Social Investment Program. What do you make of it? that
would be a very good score for the federal government if it can be established, because our problem is policy somersault and inconsistency in what we do. So like I said, from Fourth Republic about 21 years ago, if we have focused on one policy, by now it would have manifest and see it in Nigeria. So now, by government institutionalizing NSIP, it's a very good thing to happen. That means it will create consistency. You know, it will also create source for the fund, because the issue is that every government will just say, let's do this. No. By that, it is stated that 5% will be dedicated to poverty reduction, NSIP, and there will be an agency that will manage. Another thing we have is it must be domesticated into different states, because federal government cannot be fighting poverty and the states are not doing anything about it. So it must transcend from federal government to them. So if every agency in every state also earmark 5% of the budget, for poverty reduction, it will go a long way, because there will be monitoring and it will also show over time on people.
Okay, if passed, how do you see it moving 100 million Nigerians out of poverty?
Well, I think it's a projected, and I think government is over ambitious about that.
Of course,
because when you say 100 million by 2030, what are we doing now? That's the question. 2030 to now is about 8 years. So what are we doing to make sure that we could? Because it's much more of institutional base. When you talk about poverty also, we are not talking about poverty line. Money poverty line. We're talking about multi-dimension now poverty. That's the major issue. Healthcare problem, education. If you look at even HDI index, per capita income of Nigerians is very, very small compared to move them to standard. It has been moved to $215 per day. How many? With the value of the dollar now, how many person can afford that to eat in a day? And also, how many people are going to school? The school expectancy. These are the things we are looking for. Then, ultimately, life expectancy. Can I say, as a Nigerian, I'm sure I wish a particular year in this, be that without looking at the natural, force majeure, but let's look at natural thing. How many of us can also say, yes, at least 55 years is assured for every Nigerian? And there's a function of many things that need to come together: education, health, social, and inclusion itself. So these are the things we need to really do more in.
But how do you see government playing part in the selection and processes of this particular social investment program? Would it be advisable for the private sector to now come in? Because when you talk about selection, when people be selected, their loved ones and things like that. So how do you see government part in this whole process? Should it be a private-public thing, or should it be a public thing, or something like that?
I think that's the major shortfall of this social investment. Because, Nigeria is a political terrain where all politicians want to score by telling people, promising people that you will be moved out of poverty. By the time all this poverty scheme came about, they will be justly for it, so that I will take it to my community. Perhaps the person you are giving may not be the person in need. But that's why you see that most NGOs used to do what we call need assessment. So if there's a proper need assessment, you identify that this person, their problem is not education anymore, their problem is health-related issues. You can identify this thing. So that's why government needs to institutionalize it. I agree with them. Because part of the advantage of passing this bill of NSIP is that there will be a pattern, there will be an rules and regulation, a procedure to identify that this person is poor. Not somebody that is earning about 80,000 that got to hear about 10,000 and is also trying to collect 10,000. That is meant for people in the core rural area that does not even have a bank account. Because people that survive with 10,000 naira in a month, I can tell you, may not have a bank account that you can transfer to. And with this current BVN, you can easily get to know who has what and how the money comes in. So Nigeria government should involve private sector in terms of partnership, because even the international organization want to see you implementing it to the benefit of the masses before they will give you those things. Most NGOs are there supporting people. They always conduct need assessment and identify if this person truly need this support.
Okay, what's your assessment of our National Social Investment Program?
Well, for now, it has about four areas. So now, looking at that 4 areas, you could see that one is majorly for the youth. One is majorly for market women. One majorly is for children in the school. No, we will see that by segmenting it, it's a very good one. But it must be institutionalized so that over time, and we must have a proper record. I could see in that NSIP also, there's what they call poverty register, where we get to know who benefit over time and where to go. And we can also trace if the person has actually moved from poverty, a particular level of poverty to the other. I think it's a very good thing that government is coming up with NSIP.